Well, welcome to this next installment in Life at All Saints, Living in Faith Every Day. Today I'm here with Kay Labosky, and we're going to be talking about the ways that Kay has given of her time and talents and passions at All Saints and in and beyond these walls and into the community. So Kay, thank you for being with me today on camera and participating in Life at All Saints.
Glad to be here.
Okay. So I wanted to ask the initial question that I ask everybody that I've interviewed. How long have you and your husband John been members at All Saints, and what drew you to All Saints initially?
Well, I had to give a little thought to this because it's been a long time.
Okay.
And I think it's been 40 years this year. Yeah. And what drew me to All Saints, I'm a lifelong Lutheran.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely going to look for a Lutheran church. And back in the old days, when this was just a tiny little church, there was a sign out front that said the times of the worship services and the name of the pastor, who was Pastor David Ullery. So when we came here, I knew one person, and that was him.
Yeah.
The way I knew David was from Camp Moana, which is a Lutheran church camp here in Ohio, and I was a camper and on the staff there, and that's how I got to know him.
My daughter went to Camp Moana its final 2 seasons, so yes,
you know.
It's Camp Moana is near and dear to many, many people.
Oh yeah.
So, okay, well, tell me some of the ways that you've served at All Saints, both as a staff member, which maybe people may not know, and how you've served beyond that.
Okay. Well, I've had a variety of job titles here. The last one was the Director of Lay Ministry and Programs, but started out as a volunteer coordinator, which really kind of gets to the subject of what you're talking about, which is getting people involved in ministry here at the church. So the ministries that I set out for others are ones that I participated in as well.
Okay.
So Habitat for Humanity, all the ones down in Lawrence County, which were Christmas with Dignity, and the school program.
Tools for Schools.
Tools for Schools. Yeah, my mind is going blank.
That's okay.
Yes, Tools for Schools. And we kind of made a promise to the people of Lawrence County. They said, there's a lot of people who come down here and say they want to help us, and then we never see them again. I said, that won't be us. And it hasn't been us. All Saints still goes down there.
So I know, is it St. Paul's in Ironton?
Yes.
And that ministry has had a special place, I think, for a lot of people here at All Saints too.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I love that idea of being in it for the long haul, making a commitment to serve a community and like you said, sticking with it.
Lutheran Social Services Food Pantry, and we went from doing that just occasionally to a monthly commitment during my tenure, and I think that's also been one that was a near and dear ministry to many people.
Yeah.
So those are kind of the highlights of the big ones.
Well, what stands out to me about UK and about so many people here at All Saints is you allow your faith to interconnect with how you live. And faith is not just a Sunday ritual for you. It is a part of who you are and what you choose to be involved with. And I commend you for that.
Well, thank you. Ever since, honestly, I have to say, ever since I was a young girl, I kind of scoured our faith and the scriptures for what my purpose would be. And I felt like I came away with 2 words that the Bible tells us for our lives, and they are go and do. And that's sort of how I've tried to live, by going and doing. And another Bible verse, of course, is love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. So that's been at the heart of what I do.
That's kind of guided
also.
your life and faith.
Absolutely. And then when I had the job here at All Saints, I thought, we had some kind of a workshop one time, and we were supposed to come up with a mission statement for ourselves. and mine was to bring people together for a higher purpose.
I love that. In fact, I love how when you say go and do, that I feel like you could get a whole sermon out of those two words alone, and how faith, I think, a lot of times intimidates people. We look at faith in God as being a complex endeavor that we don't feel faithful enough, or we don't feel like we understand the Bible enough. But really, at the heart of faith, it are these commands to love God, love neighbor, and in order to do that, go and do.
Right.
So I love that. Thank you for that. Why do you feel, Kay, that it's important to give back to your community, not only through All Saints, but I'd like for you to obviously expand on other organizations that you've helped found and have been a part of?
Well, since I've retired from my position here at All Saints, my time has been spent in two major ways. One is I'm on the board of directors at Osterland Services for Youth in Springfield, which is a Lutheran church agency. Actually, I've been on that board since 2006. Again, I'm a lifelong Lutheran. I believe in serving the Lutheran community.
Mm-hmm.
And my career as a social worker prior to coming to All Saints was with troubled youth.
Okay.
So that just is sort of a natural fit for me. The other one is Worthington Interfaith Neighbors, and that neighbors word comes up again,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not accidental.
Yeah.
When we discovered, two friends and I discovered that there were two Muslim groups here in Worthington, and it was at a time when the news was not favorable toward Muslim people. There were a lot of very negative things happening. We wanted to provide a welcoming presence in our community so that those negative headlines wouldn't become part of Worthington.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we founded it, not just for that particular group, but also, anybody who might feel that they were on the fringes.
Right.
So the purpose of the group is just to bring people together,
Mm-hmm.
to increase their understanding of one another, and to be a welcoming presence.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, I know we advertise a lot of the WIN events here at All Saints, and I love this idea that we are meant to be good faith neighbors, not only to people of the same faith, but to people of different faiths. I think we don't lift up that need enough within the church. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. One of the things that we do advertise monthly, 10 months out of the year, we have Sharing Our Stories, where
Mm-hmm.
people from other faiths and nations share their personal story of how they came to the United States or what their faith is.
Mm-hmm.
And for this month, it's going to be the Baha'i faith, which
Mm-hmm.
I think many of us don't know
Don't know
anything
enough about.
Yeah. So it's been a very interesting process to
Yeah.
invite all those people. But we also have other events that we do and other activities. And if I can take just a second to
Please
tell
do.
what they are. We have a film festival every winter with two films, usually at the McConnell Arts Center. I'll tell you, COVID has thrown a monkey wrench into everything, but
Mm-hmm.
it's usually at the McConnell Arts Center, and they're usually interfaith or internationally oriented films. And we serve a meal ahead of time that is of the tradition of the country that's focused in the film. And these are feature films. We're not talking about,
Independent, small,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and then we have speakers afterward from the country or from the faith who expand on it and answer audience questions and that sort of thing. And it's been a very well-received event. We have a program called Conversation Partners, where we match English-speaking people with those who want to practice their English conversation. And again, that brings together people and cultures that learn about each other in the process of learning language. We also have a program called Peace Ambassadors, which is high school students who have put together skits of their experiences as people of a different faith and or a different culture, and maybe how others didn't handle that real well.
Yeah.
And then they put it on in front of every third grade classroom in the city of Worthington and give the children the opportunity to say what they saw, how it could have been handled better. And then the skit is done again using the children's suggestion. So that is really a great program too. Then the last one I'll talk about is we've had an international potluck picnic every year until COVID hit. And now, post-COVID, this year, we're changing it up a little bit, and it's going to be a festival of faiths and nations. July 24th, we want everybody to come. There will be a tent or a canopy set up for different churches, different community groups, representing who they are and what they do, but it's fun. It's not going to be proselytizing. It's not going to be a documentary sort of a situation. It's going to be a fun event. We'll have a food truck with Japanese street food there, or people can bring their own picnics. And, you know, so that's going to be happening. And All Saints will have a presence at this event.
I love the work that Wynn is doing because to me, it's what the kingdom of God is supposed to reflect. People of different faiths. Most people believe in some divine higher being, but no matter how we understand God or come to God, I think the kingdom of God is about people coming together to help one another, and it's the very things that Wynn is doing. So it's advocacy, it's education, it's compassion. It's mutual understanding. So thank you for your role.
You're welcome. You know, just briefly, one of the things we've learned is that almost every faith in the world has some sort of a principle or a belief that talks about welcoming the stranger.
Yeah.
And also something about loving one another.
People don't know enough about other faiths, I believe, and I think the world would be a lot better if we sought to understand the beliefs of others instead of blocking it out and pushing away other people's beliefs and assuming things without knowing anything about them.
Right.
So I want to talk a little bit as we begin to conclude this video about online worship. As you know, we've been live streaming since the beginning of the pandemic. And that's something that is not going to go away. We intend to keep providing that outlet because we know that whether it be for health or mobility or physical distance, people need that method of worshiping online. And I know that you and your husband, John, have been very active and faithful in participating online. And I wanted to ask you, from your viewpoint, how has that been beneficial to you? What have you enjoyed about it? What has been unique and maybe difficult about it as opposed to being in person in the building? But I just want to get your point of view on online worship and what it's meant to you.
Well, I'll just start out by saying I think it's wonderful, and I'm so happy that All Saints offers this, not just for us, but for all the other people, for all the reasons that you just cited. There are many reasons that people can't come to worship. But my experience is, I remember back in the day when a little audio tape would be on the desk in the office every Monday, and then it would be taken to different people who were shut-ins, and that was how they experienced worship. And the more I think about it now, I'm so glad that we have online worship instead, because I feel that I'm worshiping with the congregation. I'm not just listening to what they did.
Yeah.
You know, and if you came to my house on a Sunday morning, you'd find me sitting there singing the hymns, singing the liturgy, saying the prayers, as well as listening to the sermon and the readings and all of that. I've been thinking about the 23rd Psalm lately, and I came to the line, "Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me." And I thought, you know, I've never really thought about that line. It just seemed, you know, I don't know, it just didn't seem like
Seemed
it
kind
fit.
of mysterious. And
It sort of seemed like it didn't fit with all the nice things, because I always thought rod and staff don't sound so nice.
Yeah.
Then I thought about them as guidance. And from my point of view, God's guidance is that he wants us to worship him. He wants us to hear his word. And this is going to come back to the go and do. Those are the things that lead to go and do. But without worship and without listening to the word, we're not fed. We don't have what needs to be inside us to go and do. So I'm so grateful that I can participate in worship in this way.
Well, thank you. We always like to have that feedback. I feel like we don't always know, unless we talk with someone like you, we don't know the people at home, how they feel, if they feel like a fly on the wall, if they feel like a true participant, if they feel blessed and filled with all that we say and pray and sing and worship. So thank you for that. And thank you for all you do, Kay, here at All Saints and in the Worthington community and beyond. So thank you for your faith and for being on camera today.
Well, glad to be here.
Well, we'll conclude with that. Thank you for being with us in this installment of Life at All Saints. We hope that you continue to tune in and keep an eye out every month for new installments and God's blessings in the coming days.